Good afternoon. My name is David Clow. I'm State Director for NFIB, the National Federation of Independent Business, and it's over 3,000 members here in the state of Maine who collectively employ over 30,000 small business, 30,000 employees in their small businesses. The National Federation is the nation's largest leading small business advocacy group with over 325,000 members from coast to coast, including Hawaii and Alaska, Florida, and Maine. The reason why we're here is to announce that Bruce Poliquin has been a tremendous advocate for small business in the last 2 years in Congress. Things that matter to small business. Every election season, we hear candidates going out and talking about how they support small business. They're very sincere in their remarks, but what matters to small business owners the most is how do you vote? What are your actions? Show me, don't just tell me. And we judge that by the voting record and members of Congress and issues that are important to NFIB members, to small business owners. And Congressman Poliquin has done very well in the past 2 years based on the NFIB voting record, protecting small business owners from costly regulation, seeking more appreciation for the indirect impacts of regulation on small business owners, for expanding the tax code so that small business owners can get faster write-off for their investments in machinery and equipment is very important, and the variety of ways in which he has demonstrated his, not only his understanding, but his action on behalf of small business owners. When you talk to small business owners, they'll tell you something. That is, I feel more comfortable with somebody who knows what it's like to be in business than with somebody who doesn't, and it really makes a huge difference in that respect. So we're very, very pleased that the Congressman has earned a Guardian of Small Business Award, which we'll mention later, and also he has earned the NFIB support in his re-election, which is very important. He's demonstrated he's capable of standing up for small business, and we'd like to see him back there again. Now, Senator Collins is another very good friend of small business, and she comes from a different perspective. She comes from growing up in a small business family, from having a brother who runs a small business, from having been the regional administrator for the Small Business Administration, for having worked for years and years on small business issues and defending small business owners in Maine, New England, and all across the country in ways that will help them do the job that they do best, and that is creating opportunities for people, handing out paychecks at the end of the week, and showing up the next day to do it all over again. This country cannot stand without small business owners being strong, and we're very pleased that both Congressman Poliquin and Senator Collins are two great friends for small business. Senator?
Thank you very much, David. It's always great to work with you on small business issues, and you do a great job, as does NFIB nationwide, in being the voice of small business as those of us in Washington seek to make sure that we're promoting both tax and regulatory policies that help our small businesses, the cornerstone of the Maine economy. I am delighted that NFIB has decided to endorse Bruce Poliquin for re-election. I am not, however, surprised. I have worked so closely with Bruce in Washington on a variety of policies to create and keep jobs in our state. And he is a tiger who really fights for the people of Maine. In fact, I've yet to meet a member of the House of Representatives on either side of the aisle who doesn't know Bruce and hasn't been lobbied by Bruce on policies that affect our employees and small businesses right here in the great state of Maine. Bruce does know what we need to do to help our small businesses start up, grow, and prosper. And he has an extraordinarily high NFIB rating and has shown himself to be a real champion of our small businesses. Finally, let me say that it is our small businesses, the the 140,000 small businesses in the state of Maine that create the vast majority of jobs in this state. And that's why to have our nation's leading small business organization endorse Bruce is so important. It's significant because it shows that Bruce believes in jobs and that he will support the policies that help our employers create more good jobs. And it's now my great pleasure to both present with David, the NFIB coveted Guardian of Small Business Award to Bruce Poliquin.
Thank you very much. Thank you, David, very much.
Thank you.
I'm honored to be here and very grateful to receive this award. And I very much agree with David and Senator Collins that we need to do everything humanly possible to create more jobs in our state. Those of us who are from Maine, have deep roots in our state, like David and Senator Collins, we understand that our young people have been leaving. Too many of them have been leaving because they just can't find good paying jobs in our state. So we have to change this. And I believe that job creating skills is something we need in Congress. So I am delighted to receive this award. Thank you, David. And thank you so much, Senator Collins, for recognizing that I'm the best qualified to represent Maine's 2nd District in Congress. It's all about jobs. I'm very proud to be here and very appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have, or if anyone does have any.
Representative, could you talk a little about some of what you've done over the past few years that you think have helped small business owners in Maine the most?
You bet. We have a great win for our state that just was announced last week. I worked very closely with Senator Collins and Senator King and Shelley Pingree to make sure we have an opportunity to secure 10,000 jobs on our waterfront. Lobstermen and folks that not only captain their boat, but also sternmen. 10,000 jobs were secured because we fought back against the European Union to make sure they will still allow us to sell our lobsters in Europe. They were pushing back against us. The delegation worked together. Senator Collins took the lead in the Senate. I took the lead in the House, and we were able to engage the University of Maine with the research we need. We engaged the White House and the United States Trade Representative, and we convinced the European Union to drop their plan to ban lobsters, Maine lobsters from Europe. The reason why this is so important is because 25% of our lobsters here in Maine are sold to Europe. 10,000 jobs. And on top of that, folks that sell bait and sell ice and sell traps and buoys. So it goes way beyond those 10,000 jobs. And I'm honored to have worked with Senator Collins on that.
You know, another area where Bruce has been very active is extending certain tax incentives that are very helpful to our small businesses, such as bonus depreciation and allowing a restaurant to write off renovations over a shorter period of time. When I travel around the state, the biggest complaints that I get from smaller businesses is that they never know what the tax and regulatory policies that are coming out of Washington are going to be. We worked very hard to ensure last year that we extended certain tax provisions like bonus depreciation, which would allow an accelerated write-off of investments into new plant and equipment that help keep our small businesses strong.
You know, one of the things I've heard from small business owners here in Maine, and one of their big concerns coming forward is this new rule regarding overtime pay for anyone under $47,000 a year. And that seems to be something that's big on their radar. Is there anything that can be done going forward to try and reverse the clock on that, so to speak?
Senator? Which one? Sure. We think that we need more business skills down in Washington so these very harmful rules are not put into effect without really giving it careful thought. This overtime rule issue that it's a new rule through the Department of Labor, is due to start December 1. We were hoping to be able to push that back for 6 months until next spring when there's a new administration and we can really take a hard look at this. Because what we don't want to do is put so many rules and so many on our businesses that it kills jobs and are unable to expand and hire more people. I'll tell you another issue that the Senator and I have worked very closely on is making sure we do everything humanly possible to drive down the price of energy. If you look at our mills and our factories around Maine, they use electricity to run their heavy machinery. And what we don't need is a new carbon tax that'll drive up the cost of electricity and kill more of our mill jobs. We need to make sure regulations are predictable and not burdensome. We need to make sure our taxes are lower, not higher, and our energy costs are lower. Those are the ingredients, along with fair trade, that gives us an opportunity for the economy to grow and for our businesses to expand and thrive and hire more workers so our kids can stay in Maine.
You know, with regard to the overtime rule, I think most of us would agree that it did need to be adjusted, that the threshold did need to be increased. But the problem is that the administration is doubling the threshold. And that is creating chaos for so many small businesses, for nonprofit organizations, for our educational institutions like the University of Maine system. So I think what there should have been is a gradual increase, but not to the level that the administration has proposed. And what I'm seeing is that a lot of workers who are very proud of being salaried employees and having the flexibility that that implies are now being switched back to hourly employees. And for seasonal workers in particular, this is a real problem. They liked the certainty of having a salary all year round, even though it meant in the summer months they might be working 50, 55 hours a week. In the winter months, they may only be working 20 hours a week, but they could depend on that steady salary. Now what's happening is many of them are finding, because of this new rule, that their employer is going to have to lay them off during the winter months in order to afford the higher pay in the summer months, when the employee would rather have that steady income all year round. So I think some increase would have been helpful and absorbable and overdue, given how long it had been since the threshold had been raised. But a doubling is just far too much too soon.
Last question?
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank
Very,
you.
very much.
Thank you.
I really
Great to
appreciate it.
see you,
Thank you,
and
David.
congratulations
Thank you.
on getting
Oh,
the
of course.
endorsement.
Honored to be here.
It's a really important endorsement, so that's great. There you
Yeah,
go,
absolutely.
The Guardian.
All about jobs, all about jobs. and
It
small
is.
businesses.
It
Thank
is.
you all.
It
Thank
is.
you all very much.
Thank you.
Good.